this month's Pacecast. I'm Anita Pace. Thank you for joining us. My guest today is Rose James. Rose is the Chief Executive of a wonderful charity called the Hull and East Yorkshire Children's University. We'll learn about the wonderful work of the charity, and we'll also learn about what it's like to lead a charitable organisation in what are uncertain and challenging economic times. And full disclosure, I am a trustee on the board of the charity, so it is a cause that is close to my heart, as it is for Rose. So hello and welcome, Rose.
Hello, thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Good.
Recovered from last week. I wasn't so well last week.
The cold that's going round, which I am still got the tail end of, so hopefully that won't trouble us too much. So let's get started. What have you brought in to share with us today, and why is it important for you?
So I've brought in, it's a newspaper article. We managed to find it in our archives, and it's actually the article that covers 645 people apply for admin role at charity, and this is actually the role that I got at Children's University, my first role. So yeah, it made the whole Daily Mail because that many people applied for it.
And what's the date of the article?
The date of the article is Friday, May the 31st, 2013, so almost 13 years ago.
Wow.
So I left teaching at this point, and we'll obviously come to this later. Yeah. And I saw a job come up at Children's University, and I thought an admin role, I feel like for now I can do an admin role, and I put my hat in the ring, and I remember getting the phone call from John, and he called and he said, "Rose, there was 645 and you're number one kid." And that's what he said. I
can hear him saying that as well.
It was really lovely to see that, and I just think it's really, really special because that kind of matches that, and at the end it says 645 applied, 644 to disappoint, and 1 to help create more jobs and a better future for Hull. And that's what I hope I'm doing now.
Yeah. So that was how many? That was 2013.
2013. Yeah.
So that's a good segue actually into days prior to Children's University. So talk about your childhood. You're obviously a local girl.
Yes.
Your accent kind of gives it away a little bit.
Yeah.
So what was your childhood like?
I had a great childhood. Yeah, I grew up on Sutton Park. And I went to St Andrew's Primary School there. It was really close to my house, and it was. We lived on Sutton Park until I was about 11. I absolutely loved school.
Were you academic, sporty, both?
Not sporty,
right.
No. No, sport has never really been my. I love dance, performance, but yeah, not sporty.
So you're on the stage rather than the sports field?
Yeah, I used to dread sports day. But yeah, I loved school. And yeah, academic, I'd say, I was fairly academic. And I was that child that always wanted to be given the responsibilities. I wanted to be the monitor for things, and I really had a good relationship with teachers, I think, and certainly in primary school and secondary school, it came up quite often in my school report. Very confident when speaking to adults, which actually I was quite a shy child, but I just think I just think when speaking to teachers and things, I just had a bit of extra confidence.
And I think knowing you as well as I do now, I think you're extremely confident and a very good communicator and presenter. So I'm surprised that you were just shy as a youngster.
Oh, I was, especially when I got to secondary school. I would say painfully shy.
Right.
Yeah. I went through a real phase of being, and it probably wasn't until I went to university that I kind of pushed myself a bit to come out of my shell. But I used to be so shy that I'd be terrified of making phone calls to book an appointment at the hairdressers and things like that. And I would have, if you'd have told, my kind of 14-year-old self that I'd be public speaking and doing a podcast and things like, she never would have believed it.
So did you know at that age, when you were going through secondary school, did you know what you wanted to do as a career? Did you have anything in the back of your mind that you thought, I'd love to do that one day?
I think I always had teaching in the back of my mind, and my work experience I went back to my old school and did.
Secondary or primary?
Primary. I went back to my old primary, yeah. So, but then I also, I always thought that I wanted to work in the police, and I felt like I wanted to be something to do with either forensics or criminal psychology. And that
bit different to teaching.
Yeah, I know. Two very different careers, but they were the two that I kind of had, and then I ended up doing psychology at university.
Where was uni? Where did you go?
In Hull.
Oh,
Stayed in Hull.
Right.
Yeah, I still went to the halls of residence, but they were in Cottingham, and I ended up moving to Cottingham, and I lived in Cottingham, but I still went to the halls. So it was.
So you had the experience.
Yeah, but I had that comfort blanket of having, and I used to take my washing home to my mum. I did.
Did you take your washing
I did,
home?
yeah.
And go home on a Sunday for a roast.
Yes, I did. So yeah, but that was really good because it still allowed me to kind of come out of my shell and feel a bit more confident, but I just had that little bit of a safety blanket. So part of me does sometimes regret not going to university in another city because I've never experienced living in another city. But, I'm very happy still in Hull.
So when you were going through, so at what point did you decide to focus on the teaching then? Was that after you graduated?
Yes, graduated, and I realised that going into being, I did want to be a criminal psychologist, and I realised that the jobs were very few and far between. It was very unlikely that I'd end up getting that job, and I think I just thought, some of my friends carried on and they're now clinical psychologists, but I probably would have had to have done another 4 years on top of my degree, and I think I just wanted to kind of get on the career ladder and start my career, and so when I left university, I had a few jobs, but one of the jobs I got was an admin in a school, and I did that for a couple of years, and then I just thought I want to do teaching. So then I applied to actually do it was called the GTP at the time. I think now they called it SCIT. Or it's so where you do your teacher training, so you get this the same as a PGCE, but you don't do it at university, so you do it on the job. And you learn on the job.
Like an apprenticeship.
A bit, yeah. And then you have to submit evidence, and then you get assessed, and then you get your NQT qualification through that. So that was great. So I was employed as an unqualified teacher whilst I was training.
Okay.
And then I qualified as a teacher, and primary school teacher.
And what age were you teaching? Did you have a particular year, or did you?
I taught year 2 and year 3.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
so,
cute.
Yeah. And
hard work though.
Very hard work. I absolutely loved it. I love working with children. And I think younger children, for me, I wanted to be Miss Honey from Matilda, that's kind of what I wanted to be, and I just loved the kind of the imagination and the magic that you can create for children that age. So.
Yeah. So why did you leave teaching then? Because it's clear when you're talking about it, how much you loved it.
I think what I loved being in the classroom with the children, and I loved working with children. I didn't love some of the other things that came with teaching, and anyone who knows a teacher knows that there's a lot of pressure, and things have changed quite a lot over the years. And I think I had teachers that I really looked up to when I was younger, and I think I saw that the way that they did their lessons and things, and I kind of felt eventually that it was quite restrictive of what I could do, and I just wasn't happy, and it was quite a big decision to make, because I'd started this career path, and I thought I don't know what I'm going to do, but I feel like it was quite brave, and I just thought I'm not going to carry on doing this. I'm not happy, and then it was only just after that the job came up.
And did you know about the Children's University, the charity?
Not really, no. I'd heard about it because the school that I worked at had them, but I'd not been on any of the trips or anything, and I knew that they did experiences for children, but I don't think I really understood what Children's University was.
Well, do you want to explain for the benefit of our viewers and listeners what the charity does?
Yes, so we aim to raise aspirations, confidence, and engagement in learning in children that live in underprivileged circumstances in Hull and the East Riding. So there's children in our area that they don't go beyond a mile of their own front door. There's children that we meet all the time that have never even been into Hull City Centre. Some of them don't know somebody who works in their family, and children could, in those circumstances, they don't get those same opportunities that other children might have. Just sometimes just as simple as knowing somebody who could get them work experience somewhere, or, you know, a family friend. They're already on the back foot. And so what we want to do is show them as many opportunities as possible and open their eyes, so then they can see different paths that they can take in the future. So we might take them to a local business where they see all the different jobs that they can do. And it's important we do this at primary school age, because I think everyone thinks that you should be exposing children to careers when they're in secondary school, and actually I believe that's too late. So we do that. We take them to London, where they can explore London and actually go on the train for the first time, certainly go on the tube for the first time, and just see that there's a wider world. And I think it's so important especially for the children who maybe might not be thriving academically. They feel like they're not good at anything, because really everything that they're being told is it's focused around school. And when we take them on an experience and they try a new activity and someone says, you're really good at that, that could be the first time that child's ever heard that they're good at something, or feel that they're good at something, and that can just be transformational for their confidence. So we just hope that having experiences with us, the children will then, it'll light that fire in them, that then they'll want to see more.
They'll be inspired by something. Something that's always puzzled me since I started working with the charity is its name. Because the name Children's University implies that, with the word university, that it's maybe for children who are perhaps academic. So what is the history of the name?
So yeah, and you're not the first person to say that. So Children's University actually is a national organisation. We were one of the founding children's universities back when John founded us in 1996.
This is John Butterick.
John Butterick, yes. So we're about to turn 30 this year, and we've got lots of things planned for that. But
and how many schools are you working with at the moment?
We're working with about 52 of the 71 primary schools.
So that's and that's across whole and East Riding, isn't it?
Yeah. We work with some schools in more in the Bridlington area of the East Riding as well.
Okay, so getting back to your career then. So you joined the charities in an that's a hard word to say on a Friday, administrative role. So you did that for a while and then you progressed, didn't you?
Yes. So when I arrived at the charity, there was only a really small number of people. And unfortunately, also about 6 months after I joined, John wasn't very well and had to go off on sick. And a couple of people at the charity were leaving. I'd kind of grown a bit more confidence, and John had been great. He'd taken me to bondholders and things like this, and I'd gone and done a bit of networking. And one of the people who were leaving was the person who was responsible for some of the fundraising. And I thought, maybe I feel like I've got the skill set to do that. But that role was a little bit different. So I wrote a new job description, and I gave it to Natasha, who was deputy CEO at the time, and I just said, I think maybe I could do this. And I believe she came to the board and then they gave me a chance, and then so that was the partnership manager role, and I did that for the best part of 10 years.
And fundraising for a charity is a hard gig, isn't it? Especially, I mean, all charities are very worthwhile, and it's very hard to choose whether you're a member of the public or a business. If you want to support charity, you can only support so many. So it's hard to choose. So how did you find the fundraising? There's a lot of no's in that role. Yeah,
and coming from teaching, I didn't know the corporate world at all, and or the fundraising world. And I think I certainly had lots to learn over the years. And I attended some great training down in London and things like that. But really, the thing about a lot of the training out there for charities, it's very focused on national charities. And so small local charities, it is really hard. And I think what we're really lucky with around here is that the whole business community is so strong and so supportive of each other. And I think going to things like bondholders and I did speed networking and things like that, just really broadening my network, that really helped. And what I found was that I started to understand what I felt that businesses wanted from a partnership with a charity. And so I then introduced partnership packages to the charity, and we still use them today, and they went really well. And yeah, but there's been times where I think I probably didn't approach things in the right way, especially with fundraising and stuff. And I had some ideas which I'm glad I didn't try. But one of the ideas,
I was going to say, can you share any of those?
One of them I wanted to do. And I think now I think of like return on investment and time. I had an idea, and I thought I called it a mile of money, and I thought we could try and get people to line up pound coins along the Humber Bridge. From one end to the other. And then I thought, right, how long would it take to do that? How long would it take to collect them? How good is it? But I was thinking we can do it and it'd be amazing. And yeah, but I'm quite glad I didn't do that one.
Now you're having to organise everything, you think,
Yeah.
So that's an example of something that you didn't do. Can you think back to the most successful fundraising you did while you were doing that role? Was there one big thing that stood out?
I mean, I think introducing the packages it was amazing, and as soon as we had those, I kind of had the conversations with businesses, and it's thanks to those initial partners, most of which are still with us, that they really helped me, because they helped me to understand how to kind of approach these partnerships, and so I'm really, really proud of that. I think I used to organise the ball as well.
This is the annual ball.
The annual ball, yeah. And I'd never done events before, and actually that's something I'm really proud of, because over the years they just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And probably a highlight for me, I've got two. One of them was the whole ball in 2017, because we did all that. Obviously, it was City of Culture year, so we did it all Hull themed. So we gave favours of chip spice. We had like patty butties for the. It was a black tie do, but we had patty butties for the food. We had like Hull Fair desserts. We had a mini Hull Fair that we set up in there, and I'd approached, and I think they had an agent, but. They'd never done anything like this before. I approached Jenny and Lee from Gogglebox.
This was before they commanded huge fees.
Yes, they did it for free. Yeah. And I said, would you compare our ball? And they were like, we've never compared anything, but they did it. And it was very rough around the edges, but that was part of the charm. And so that was really good. And then probably my favourite ball that I've done was our supercalifragilistic ball, which was the Mary Poppins one. We did Greatest Showman, which was great as well. But I was so tired afterwards, because it was like a show as well as a ball. But I managed to find someone who was a one-man band, like Bert with his drum, and we had a full tap dancing school doing a full performance. We have aerialists, all in it was all like Mary Poppins, these with umbrellas, and the chef at the time at the Hilton, I spoke to her and I said, would you do me like a custom menu? And we sat down, and she just she loved it. And the things that she did did super carrot fetalicious expialite. That was the soup. And the main, I said I want it to be called Feed the Birds, and she did corn-fed chicken, but then she did little Hessian bags where people could feed the birds with crumbs. Oh, wow. And then the dessert was a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down, and it had like a little medicine vial and a tempered chocolate spoon, and it was like something from like Heston Blumenthal. Yeah. It was it was there, and everyone was just blown away, and just every part of that really it was really good. And I just felt really proud that I delivered an event like that. And
huge success. The ball's always been a big success. And I guess it's difficult to beat it each year, to think of a new theme and do better than the previous year.
It is. And thankfully we have been able to do that. And I mean, the ball that we just had in October, we raised £35,000. I mean, that was just incredible.
Phenomenal. Yeah. So clearly you were very good at your fundraising role, which led to a bigger role, didn't it? The Director of Development.
Yes. So I about a year before I was CEO, I was promoted to Director of Development, and then I managed then the fundraising team at Children's University. So that was...
Even more responsibility.
Yes.
Which then led to the big one, the big job. So you've been Chief Executive for how long now?
For nearly 3 years.
And how are you finding that?
Yeah, I still absolutely love it. You know, I've said ever since I've worked at Children's University, and this is completely true, like I genuinely look forward to going to work, and I do believe that I've got the best job in the world. You know, it's where I'm meant to be, I think. And you know, I have, you know, a few years ago thought that I would be the CEO? Probably not. You know, I think I was doing my fundraising role, and that I maybe didn't necessarily see myself as a CEO. But then I think the more I thought about it, I thought, no, I am the right person for this.
Yeah, and what does a typical day look like for you now then?
I don't think there is a typical day, but that's what I love. I love the variety. I think, you know, I've got such an incredible team, and yeah, there's always something new. It's a lot of hard work, obviously, a lot of pressure. You know, there's a lot of, you know, talking to funders and grant reports and seeking out new funding, lots of finance, you know, obviously making sure that our experience is the best they can be for the children. But yeah, I love that no day is the same.
So your passion for the charity is clearly still evident. What is there something that keeps you awake at night? Something that you worry about as far as running the charity is concerned?
I think for every charity CEO, it's funding. You know, it's hard at the moment for charities, and you know, the success rate of grants and trusts, it's gone from 1 in 10 to 1 in 20.
And just explain what that is. That's applying for.
That's applying for, yes. So in order to get grant and trust funding, you have to send bids, a bit like a tender, and then their board looks at all the different applications that they get, and then they, you know, times are hard for them, and sometimes, you know, because they're so oversubscribed by the amount of charities that are applying for one pot of money, and then they decide how many are going to get it.
And are you seeing, has the sentiment from local businesses changed as well in recent times as a result of the economy?
No, not really, no. I mean, actually, if anything, they've stepped up more, which has been amazing.
Good, yeah.
And actually during COVID as well, we saw, you know, because that was a time, obviously, where a lot of businesses really had to make some tough decisions. And we were I think because we really do have such a strong relationship with our businesses, and I'd like to think that they're with us for life, and you know, they see that direct impact of where their funding goes, and I think they just want to continue to support. So yeah.
I think a lot of businesses maybe have kind of stripped back on the number of charities they're supporting, and just been more selective. And it's good to hear that the Children's University is one of the ones that we're sticking by. You said about impact just then. Have you got any stories you can share with us of where the charity has made a big difference to an individual that you can tell us about?
Yeah, I mean, for us, because a lot of the kind of result of the work we do will be later in life, sometimes it's harder to demonstrate that long-term impact unless someone comes back to us and tells us, which we've been lucky enough that people have. I mean, the first one that comes to mind as a success story is, so my deputy, Jess, she actually was a Children's University child, and now she works for the charity. And, you know, she remembers going to the ice arena with John and going to different things. And, you know, she truly believes that you know, those days really had a huge impact on her. So it's amazing now that she's working for us. A story that I have told a few times for people who've been to our ball, but something that is a real, it kind of really illustrates what we do. Saffron, who we worked with, she was one of those children who hadn't really experienced many things, and things at home for her weren't good at all. she wasn't in a good place, and she didn't have any of those positive role models in her life, and she truly believed that she was worthless and she wouldn't achieve anything. And when she was in year 6, she went to London with us, and it was her first time on a train, first time leaving Hull. And she, when we went to London, we took her to Parliament, and Parliament just completely blew her away. And she fell in love with it, and she thought, this is where I want to be. And she was really interested in, making a difference and kind of, tackling issues and things like that. So she thought, I want to be an MP. And as soon as she got back to school, she was asking a teacher, what can I do to get into politics?
And how old was she, did you say?
She was 11 at that point. Yeah,
wow.
yeah. And we didn't know all this was happening. And then we met her when she was in sixth form, and Natasha had gone to speak at an event, and she came up to Natasha and she was like, I can't believe Children's University is here. You changed my life. And she said that moment changed everything for her. And she then went on to study politics at Hull Uni. And she also put herself forward in local elections. And now she's a teacher.
Oh, is she a teacher?
She's a teacher now. Yeah. So she's done incredibly well, and was super, super proud of her. But she spoke about this at our ball as well. She's very she's a real advocate for us, and I'm very, very proud of that.
I know in a lot of the promotional material the charity puts out, you've got some of the very emotional stories that are quite tear-jerking, just in the sense that these are children that just haven't, like you said, maybe left the city or even left the area they live in, whether it's a road or an estate, and you're just giving them the opportunity to open their eyes and give them hope and inspire them to want to do something specifically rather than just drift.
Yeah, and to like we say, that spark to just switch on, and for them to think, right, that is what I want to be.
Yeah.
And children don't know what they don't know.
Exactly.
And so if they see those, if they meet someone maybe in a job role and then they hear their story and they think, oh, they were a bit like me at school and now they're doing this, maybe I could do that. Or children sometimes they know certain jobs like postman, builder, hairdresser, working in a supermarket, doctor, nurse, lawyer. They might know these things, but they might think, well, I don't want to do any of those. But they don't know any other jobs. So they just think, well, what am I going to do then? And then actually when we expose them to so many different careers, like construction industry, it's not just a builder. There's hundreds of careers within that, and then that opens up a world of possibility.
Yeah. I like that, opening up a world of possibilities. That's good. So if you were to give some advice to someone setting up a charity today, maybe you wouldn't want to set up a charity today, but what would the advice be?
I would say, I've not personally set up a charity myself, so, I can't speak from experience in that sense. But I think if I was telling them what to expect, I'd say I would invest in going and speaking to other people in charities. Get yourself a mentor, and also find somebody who's a really talented bid writer. Yeah. Because that's really important, because having grant and trust funding makes so much difference. And I also would say don't underestimate the power of the local business community, because I think there's so many charities that don't link with businesses, and actually they want to help. They want to, and it adds so much to the work we do. Our links with businesses, it's really we call it Here See You in the Future, our trips that we do to businesses, and it's a core offering that we do now thanks to the help of them, and we wouldn't be the charity that we are without that. So I would say to people starting a charity, broaden your network within the business community and see how they can help you.
Do you think that you'll ever work somewhere else one day, as in the non-charitable sector, so public sector, private sector, go back to teaching maybe?
No, I wouldn't go back to teaching. No, I think that's done now, because I believe that the work that I'm doing now, I'm making more of a difference to those children. We're benefiting 10,000 children a year, And I truly believe that we are making a huge difference. Would I work somewhere else? I think I don't know. I think ultimately, I think if I didn't work here, I think I would go and open a little restaurant in Spain.
You do?
Yeah, my husband's a chef, and I think we'd go and we'd go off to Spain and have a little restaurant. I think that's the only other thing that I would consider.
Very different.
Yes.
So maybe we'll leave Hull one day. One day.
One day.
Hopefully not yet, for a while.
Yeah.
What do you think's been your biggest, if you look back now to those early days when you were going through uni and then thinking about teaching, what advice would you give to that younger Rose, knowing what you know now? I mean, you're still very young.
40 this year, Anita.
That's not old, Rose. That's not old at all.
I can't believe it.
You look well on it anyway.
Oh, thank you. I think I would say be bold. I think there's been probably deep down, and this probably goes back to those school reports, I think I do have a boldness about me, and I think I want to do things, and sometimes I'm not scared to ask the question things, but I certainly when I was younger, I didn't have that, and I wish so much that I had done that earlier.
When can you think, what did something happen to change? Because that's a very different position to be in. So you did have that fear, and now you don't. You're very bold. And what was there a pivotal moment, or? Yeah,
I think it was at university. I think I remember at the halls of residence. It was the first day. I'd been out to Asylum to the club with my friends, and we got back, and my friends were in the halls of residence, so they'd gone off, and I was sat in my room, and I was thinking, oh, I don't know anyone here, and I could. It was Ferrens Hall, where it's like a quad. And I looked out the window, and I could see loads of people congregating outside in the quad with drinks, and I was sat in my room thinking, I really want to be out there with them, but I don't know anybody. And I just thought, right. And I got up and I poured myself a glass of wine.
Yeah,
and
that's courage.
Yeah, and I went down the stairs, and I just went to this group and started speaking to them. And they were so welcoming and lovely. And that group actually ended up being like my main friends throughout university.
Oh, nice.
But everybody was lovely. And because I'd done that, then the next day when I was walking about, someone had stopped me and said, hi, Rose, you're all right. And so then I'd just try something else. I probably can't think of any examples, but just little things. I pushed myself a little bit more and a little bit more.
And that gave you the confidence.
And that gave me the confidence, yeah. And I think, I definitely think leaving teaching, my confidence went down again. Because, of course, I was leaving a career that I thought I was going to do forever. But then some of the bold moments in this job, then, they worked out well, and I just kept doing it and kept pushing myself, and I still now challenge myself to do more. And sometimes I'll look at things and I'll put myself forward for doing something, and I think, oh, why have I done that? And then I end up doing it. I went for the Strictly Come Dancing show,
not the real show,
not the real
everybody.
one, but the one in Hull, having no ballroom experience, and ended up winning it.
But you did say earlier you liked to dance.
Yes.
Were you a bit of a dancer when you were younger then?
I was,
Yeah.
but I didn't do ballroom.
Oh, right.
And that's
okay.
what they say on Strictly, isn't it? When they say they've got dance experience, they say, but I didn't do ballroom.
Yeah. Well done on winning it, by the way.
Thank you.
I wasn't going to overlook that. What's the best advice you've ever had then?
Best advice I've ever had. I think, but it's probably some advice that I still have to remind myself of. I think it's that, well, my grandma used to say to me, it's not, I wouldn't say it's literally this, but she used to say, you die if you worry and you die if you don't, so why worry at all? And it's not about death, but it's about, I think sometimes I overthink and worry about things, and you don't really get anywhere by doing that. I guess you need to care, and I care about things, but actually sometimes you can really over worry about doing something, and you can't control the outcome of that, so there's no point in worrying. And I think that's something that I need to always think about. That
what sort of things do you worry about?
I just think I'm quite a control freak.
Right.
So I think I just like things to be in control in all aspects. So I just think when things aren't, I worry. And you can't control everything.
No, and your grandma was right. There's no point worrying about things you can't influence or control.
My grandma was a real, like, salt of the earth, working class, super hard working person. And I think she just was someone who was very direct but also really warm and lovely. And she was a really big influence in my life.
The biggest, would you say? Who has been the biggest thus far?
The biggest?
Yeah.
I'd say probably, I mean, she was a big one, but then, both my parents, in their own separate ways, have been really big influences. I think, both my parents are performers.
Oh, are they?
My whole family, I say we're like the Von Trapp family. My dad has been in bands all my life. My mum was the singer.
Oh, right.
So my brother was in bands. So yeah, I think
See, I can see that now, knowing you. Yeah.
Well, my mum's now in a country music duo. That's what she does now. But yeah, like I think my dad's showmanship and confidence when actually I think he's at home is just my dad, but I think seeing that, I think that was he's a real character, and I think I kind of that inspired me. And
you didn't want to go into show business or entertainment?
I did. I mean, I danced and I did sing at school in some shows and things. But I think I'm a bit like you, Anita. I'm competitive, and if I'm not the best at something, then I think, right, well, I'm not going to do it. Yeah. So yeah. I think I felt that my brother was better, and so I did it, and I still get up on karaoke and still sometimes, and I'm still drawn to the stage. But
now you're standing up talking about the charity.
Yes,
which you do exceptionally well, I have to say, exceptionally well. I'm sure your parents and your grandmother would be very proud of you and everything you've achieved at the charity. You're doing a fantastic job, and the charity is going from strength to strength. It's a big year for the charity. You mentioned earlier 30 years this year, and there's a few things that you're doing to celebrate. Talk to us about this Elements Challenge.
Well, the Elements Challenge is just, it's such an incredible idea. So our community and events fundraiser, Elisa, thought it up. And the idea is, so we often have challenges like skydives, ab sales, things like that happening. And what we've found is that people want to do multiple challenges for us in the year, but then they're always really conscious of, I don't want to put out another fundraising page and ask people again, because people, you can't be asking for money all the time from friends and family, and so Elisa had the idea of, well, why don't we do it so people can do multiple challenges, but it's in a package, and then they can just have one fundraising page, or businesses can do that as well, and they can have a team and they can have one fundraising page, but they can do challenges through a whole year. So the idea is that the elements, it's earth, wind, fire and water. So earth involves the mud run, Get Caked, which actually we do in partnership with Dove House Hospice. They host the event and we buy places for it. We do the drop, which I did last year, which is, I can only describe it as a little bit like Race Across the World. Yeah. Where you are blindfolded and put on a coach, and then you kicked off the coach and you've got to find your way back to your original starting point with no GPS or anything. That was really fun. So they're the two earth.
How long did it take you to find your way back, by the way, when you did it?
How long did it take us?
Hopefully you're not going to say days.
Did it take us 4 hours?
Oh, that's all right then.
I can't remember. You have we made it with about 10 minutes to spare of the cut-off point, because then they have to come and rescue you, which was really embarrassing. But we didn't get rescued. So yeah, I think it was 4 or 5 hours. It was in York, and they ended up dropping us. And this isn't a spoiler because they drop you different places all the time. They dropped us near Tadcaster.
Right. And you had no idea where you were?
No idea. No, we had to drop in a lot of pubs and ask where we were. And But of course, when you ask for directions, they only really know it in a car.
Yeah.
Whereas we was having to cross fields.
Yeah.
And so that's a great one, especially in a team. Highly recommend that. And then wind is a skydive or an abseil. The abseil's off Hull College. And fire is a fire walk on hot coals, which I'm doing this year.
I've done that before.
Have you done that?
Yes. Yeah. It's not as bad as you think.
Is it not?
No.
Did you have to do a meditation before?
You kind of do all this prep before and they talk you through it and all that. And then when you actually get to do it, I didn't feel a thing.
Oh, really?
Yes, I think it's psychological. They get you to. I won't spoil it for you, but yeah, I think
Okay, so yeah, I'm doing that one, and then the other fire one is we're doing it in partnership with HFR Solutions, who so it's going to be a bit of like a firefighter drill, but you have to tackle fire. And things like that. So we'll give more details of that one soon. And then water, we've just done the Dunker, which I know some of your team have done.
We did. Well, I didn't, but some very brave people in the team did, Emma.
Yeah, which is it's at Herta, which is, it's like a helicopter
Humber
crash
Offshore,
simulator.
Yeah, Humber Offshore Training Association.
Yes, and you're strapped into this helicopter, and then it goes underwater, and then they spin it. And then you've got to get out of these windows.
While holding your breath.
And there's the option to also do it completely in pitch black as well. Yes. So that's one. We do have another Dunker in June if anyone would like to do that. And then the other water option is a wild swim.
Fantastic. It's a great idea. And we are supporting it. So the Pace team are taking part in the Elements challenges. Well done to the rest of the team who are doing that. So you're doing the fire. Are you doing anything else?
No, like I said, I did the drop last year. I've done Get Caked before. So yeah, I'm going to do. We've got a children's university team. So I was also going to do the abseil, but somebody else wanted to do that, so they took that off me.
Shame.
So yeah, I'm just going to do the fire walk this year, but who knows next year.
And it's getting very competitive between the businesses because you've got a leaderboard, haven't you?
It is.
It's early days.
The response from businesses has been amazing, and I think that there's lots of banter online about that leaderboard.
Yes, I know. We do keep looking at it, but it's early days. We'll leave it till the home straight and then come in strong. So again, well done on your achievements and the work you're doing with the charity. If you could change one thing, I don't want to call it a regret, but if you could go back and do something differently, what would that be?
I don't really think I have any regret. Like I say, I think I wish I'd have maybe had a bit more confidence when I was a bit younger. I think I didn't, like I said, I loved primary school. I didn't have the best time at secondary school.
Oh, didn't you? You didn't say that?
No, I didn't. That's probably why I didn't say it.
Why? What was it about secondary school you didn't like?
I just wasn't very confident.
Right.
And I wasn't bullied, but I also, I'd say people were probably a little bit nasty, but not in a bullying sense.
Yeah. They can be mean, can't they?
Yeah, and I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't confident. I mean, you won't believe this, but I had jet black hair. I was a full goth.
Were you?
Yeah,
I do not see that at all.
Yeah, so I was a very quiet goth. So yeah, I just think I was confident around my friends, but I just wish that I think I would have just had that little bit more confidence. Right, I think.
Okay. That kind of answers the next question, because I was going to say, if you could change one thing about yourself, what would that? Actually, if you could change one thing about yourself as you are today, what would that be? I
think it would be probably the perfectionism. I think that's something that I put loads of pressure on myself about. Yeah. And not everything has to be perfect, and like I say, you can't control everything. And I think sometimes maybe just to be a bit more go with the flow. My husband's very chilled.
Yeah, that probably is why it works, though.
Yeah. I think even just like holidays, I don't have to plan itineraries to a T. We can just see what happens.
Is that how you do a holiday? I was like, well, how you'd like to do the holiday?
I'd like to do a holiday.
Right.
Well, and to be fair, the last few years I have got a lot better with this. But I think I'm the organizer of my family and my friendship group. You know, they go to me, right, Rose, what's the plan? What are we doing? So I naturally then take on that role, even when we don't really need to do it. You know, I think I'm just a big planner.
Yeah. I'm pulling faces because it sounds very familiar. I'm just conscious of time, so we are going to have to start wrapping up. But what are you excited? It's a big year for the charity. What are you excited about this year then?
So we are we're just launching a partnership with ArtLink, where we are going to be hosting a special exhibition celebrating 30 years of Children's University. But the really unique thing about this is, so we've got a children's board of trustees from multiple
This
schools.
is separate to the
board of trustees. Yes. So we have our usual board, and then we have a children's board.
Yes.
And the children's board test some of our experiences and also let us know some ideas, and also we give them opportunities to have their say about things, and they're going to be curators of this gallery, so they've got full creative control. But then we're bringing in people who are maybe like past supporters, or John's being involved, our founder, volunteers, businesses, and they're all going to be helping to create pieces of art that reflect what they think of Children's University and their memories. And then that's going to be in September.
And where's that going to be?
On Princes Avenue. Yeah, in ArtLink. So yeah, that's something I'm really excited about as well. And we've got a few little things on that I can't talk about at the minute on the back burner. But yeah, it's a really exciting year. And I think, like I've said, I feel that our team is just absolutely incredible, and the work that they're doing. And, you know, something that I think is worth mentioning is that, you know, so our team's skill set is just so fantastic and unique. I mean, we've got people who are, you know, qualified teachers, you know, who've been in teaching for a really long time. Quite a lot of our team are actually ex-teachers like myself. You know, we have people who've spent multiple years at charities, you know, youth workers, worked at the council. And I just think as a collective, we've got such a strong, such a breadth of experience. And I sometimes think probably we don't shout about that enough, because, you know, we could, you know, for people, if they want to work with us and hear what we've got to say about things, you know, we can probably add a lot of value.
And if people do want to get involved in the charity, what sort of, are you looking for more volunteers? Obviously there's the fundraising side, but are you looking for more support in terms of people?
We're always welcome to welcome volunteers. So the great thing about our volunteering opportunities are that people can do it quite casually.
This is to help with the experiences, isn't it?
Yeah. But also, if people don't want to go on experiences with children, we do offer volunteering opportunities for like some of our events, or coming in and helping us, like a Christmas wrap presents and things like that as well. Admin roles, volunteering if people want to do that. But most of our volunteer opportunities are, experiences. And we use a platform where people can sign up and they see a calendar. And then they can sign up for things like months in advance if they want to, because we plan things. And I mean, we've got 400 experiences a year, so there's lots for people.
And you just touched on it then, the Christmas ones are one of my favourites. Just talk very quickly about what you do at Christmas with the children.
Well, one of the schemes we do at Christmas is called Breakfast with Santa. And that's just for our partner businesses. But they then get matched with a class in a school, and all of those children write letters to Santa, which go to the North Pole, which is then passed on to the business. And then they can go and buy a present for each child that they've put on their list and label it for the child. And then the children completely forget that they've even done that. And then in December, we all barge into their classroom one morning, all dressed as elves with Santa. And they have breakfast, they have a great morning. And then at the end, we say, is there anything else you'd like to do, children? And not one of them says open presents because they don't expect it. Some of them say we can colour in or we can dance. And then we say, well, how about some presents? And the squeals of delight.
Oh, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about
it.
They're just
it's
the joy.
so magical. Yeah. And that's something that I'm passionate about as continuing, because I just think, you know, for those children in that room, they might not ever experience magic in their lives. And if we can just give them even just an hour where they truly believe in magic, and that, you know, that to me is like, they'll remember that forever, and that's what I want to do.
It is wonderful. And you get to dress up as an elf and perform.
Although I didn't do that this year.
Didn't you?
No, this was the first year. Yeah, Diary was very busy, and we have a big team of elves, and so I wasn't an elf. This was the first time in 13 years that I wasn't. But I was an elf when we did our doorstep drop-offs.
Oh yeah, yes.
So I did get to be an elf then, but not breakfast Santa this year.
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay, brilliant. Thanks, Rose. It's been fascinating to learn more about your role and how you've progressed to where you are. So congratulations on your success. And long may Hull and East Yorkshire's Children's University succeed and flourish. What are the plans longer term for the charity? Is it still just to cover this area, Hull and East Riding? You're not planning to go any further afield?
No. So one thing that I was really kind of conscious of was that if we grow bigger and bigger and we spread ourselves further and further, then the amount of experiences that children can have with us is going to reduce just for capacity. And so I feel that if we focus on this area and giving children in this area multiple experiences in their primary school life, that's ultimately going to have a bigger impact. So we've changed a little bit of how we do things. And so now children that we work with, the majority of them will have something go on an experience with us in year 3, 4, 5 and 6 in their primary school, which I'm really, really pleased that we've managed to do that. And and that's thanks to the support that we've had. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you again. So before you go, I have a question here that was left by our previous guest. They didn't know who they were leaving the question for. And the question is, what's one thing that's turned out to matter far more in your career than you ever expected it would?
Oh, that's a really good question.
It is, isn't it?
Really good. To matter more than I thought it would. I think probably making sure that you keep the fun alive and you keep the laughter alive, because I think, you know, you can kind of assume, you know, that, well, that's a given. But I think although, you know, our team is a really fun team and you've got that, but also we've got to recognise that some of the things that we see in here can be quite upsetting. And, you know, we are a team that give our all because we truly care. And I think it's so important to still have fun and you know, and look after one another. And I think that's something that I've realised is super important.
Yeah, keep your spirits up when it's starting to get challenging. Yeah, that's a brilliant answer to what was a very good question.
Thank you.
And a really nice place to finish the podcast. So thank you for coming in today, Rose. It's been lovely seeing you.
Thank you.
That's it for this episode. Thanks very much for joining us. We'll be back again next month with our next guest, and until then, it's a goodbye from me.